Awesome. As you were saying that, I have so many questions that come to mind because it's very unique,
Cool.
super niche. We're live. We can get the conversation going. And I just want to start with, I saw your video on social media where you're hugging people, like you're doing you're standing blindfolded, doing free hugs for a day. I thought that was really awesome, especially with blindfold and just doing that. And how did people, how, why would people approach you and why did you want to do that actually?
I was inspired by someone I know who
Mm,
has already done this 6 years ago, and he called this the blind trust experiment or something like this.
mm,
And because I'm a cuddler myself as well, I wanted to get out there and I wanted to experience it as well. If you do
mm.
something blindfolded, it's on another level.
Yeah.
Like all your senses come alive. It's just something on steroids. And that's one thing. And I wanted to raise some awareness as well from people because people don't know what cuddle therapy is. And I just wanted to spread love. That's my mission.
Mm,
Spreading love, spreading human connection, teaching people or guiding people how to go back and love themselves. And that's why it was blindfolded, because I feel like people scared of this, they don't know what it is. And if someone's vulnerable, I'm standing there blindfolded, then it's just I'm offering myself fully and
mm.
nothing bad can happen. And then people felt inspired by it. And it was
Did people say,
amazing to see people's reactions. It's just,
what
well,
did
we
people
did it
say?
in pairs. So I had someone who was supporting me, looking after my bag and stuff like that. And he took the pictures, obviously, and I watched him doing it as well. It was a big growth for him. For me, it really reinforced me that it is important. The work I do, it's much needed and it's important, and everybody loves it. There was no difference between a man or a woman, an adult or a child, any colors, any shapes. People just came to me, and some needed a hug. Some just wanted to give me a hug. So you can tell the difference in feeling.
Hmm.
But it was just, yeah,
Oh, interesting.
it's energy.
Yeah, you felt that, right?
Yeah. And some people told me, like, okay, greetings from the Netherlands. We're just here and we're leaving our hugs behind to you. And so sweet. Like,
That's
there
so
were
funny.
kids who I saw that wanted to give a hug to my partner then,
Mm,
and they were shy about it, playing around like little kids, and it was just or people encouraging themselves. And then sometimes people when they were coming to me, sometimes, okay, it's the two of us, and then they just came. Sometimes I just felt someone's hugging me. Sometimes it was so quiet I didn't even feel anything or hear anything. It's just when they arrived,
oh yeah.
and
What was
some
the most
people
surprising
offered
part?
their help. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Like, human connection needs to be restored. And I think this is one way of doing
Mm.
that.
So tell me, especially for the people that don't know, what is cuddle therapy?
I'm helping quite a few range of people. So people who were sexually abused and physically abused, they really struggle with physical touch. I do helping people who are highly stressed, because those
Mm,
people who work a lot, they don't know how to regulate their emotions and how to regulate their nervous system. And also I like helping people who are in grief and they just need someone shoulder to cry on, basically, and hold space so they can feel what they probably don't allow themselves to feel around a family. And what else I like doing is reframe childhood trauma, go back
mm.
there and realize and what is the pattern we carry on all lives, what's the thinking and the feeling that's coming from it, and figure that out and change it and reframe it so it can become a supporting relief.
Wow.
Cuddle therapy for me
Ah.
is healing touch, it's therapeutic touch in a platonic and safe environment. I just allow people to be themselves so they can be heard, they can be seen, they can be understood and accepted the way they are. So they don't have to do anything.
Mm.
I have three types of sessions, and in one type, which is like a treatment, they don't have to do anything. So if they just want to spread out like an angel and just lie in my arms, that's fine. And that's when I can just give them the love. All I do is I transfer love to them through my strokes and my holding.
Mm.
And it's an interesting new modality, especially in the UK, not the most open nation in the world, but yeah,
Oh,
it's amazing. It taught me a
that's
lot.
awesome.
and it's giving people so much more than just a cuddle. So it's not really about the cuddles, it's just how it
Mm,
comes through. That's
of course.
yeah, the source. Yeah.
Why do you feel people need like that external support for themselves versus or like finding it for themselves, like self-love? You think starting with external cuddles or love and then finding it for themselves, is there a balance to that?
It needs to be built and created for yourself. We
Yeah.
all had
How
that
to
when we
build
were
self-love,
children.
like that
Yeah.
feeling of love, because that's always important, right?
Yeah.
And you can't always be
Exactly.
there sleeping with everyone, right? No, hugging people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not my goal. I don't want people to come to me for years and years on end because I
Mm,
want to heal them and teach them how they can do this or give this to themselves. So self-love is an interesting thing. Like we all had this self-respect and self-love when we were babies. Like we were just crying for food and we knew that food was going to come to us. We just had our nappies dirty and we knew someone's going to come. But things happen, life happens,
mm,
and then it kind of changes lots of things. And for people, I'm talking about abuse a lot because that's a really deep trauma for lots of people, physical or
yeah.
sexual or even emotional. Like when we don't feel loved, that's where things go wrong because that's when we build our patterns and it's a lifetime journey. So when people feel loved again after a very long time, or first ever, that's a
Mm.
huge kind of awakening. Okay, like this is how it feels. Lots of people don't even know how it feels
Oh,
to be loved. And then until you don't know what something feels like or something exists, you cannot really go after it because you don't know what you're searching for. And yeah, it's an aha moment for people. Like, okay, this is the first time I'm feeling loved and this is how it feels. So in this situation, it wasn't really like an unconditional love. It was codependency or an attachment or whatever. And it's a beautiful
mm,
thing. And then it's important, like, I'm struggling with words because our parents are the ones who should have given us this unconditional love
yeah.
and
They
the
try.
full acceptance. And I hate using the word should, but they should have kept us safe and seen and heard. And
Hmm.
well, it's everyone's doing their best. This is the
Yeah.
awakening of the world this time, and they didn't know better. So they gave us what they thought was the best to give us. And then we received what we received. And in most cases, not what we really needed to receive.
Yeah.
And it's a restoration of that, taking it
100%.
back
Mm,
and seeing and feeling it exists and then creating
mm,
in your life. That's a process, so it connects with self-trust, with self-respect, and rewriting the stories we've been telling ourselves all our lives and then changing our thinking and emotional patterns. It's a work, but
yeah.
it's a work worth doing.
Wow. And so what made you want to get into it? How long have you been doing it, first of all?
2 years now,
2 years.
and I'm doing it one
Awesome.
to one. I have experience with workshops as well. I
Mm,
was part of a team. So what made me do it? There's two things.
yeah.
There's a funny story that goes behind of my real story. So the
Mm,
funny story is that I saw a video on Instagram and there was a young girl fueling up a Porsche. Actually, in every interview I said it was a Porsche, but it's a Ferrari. And someone's asking her what she does for a living. And then she says she's a touch therapist. I was like, of course, you're just so pretty and so young, and you drive a Ferrari. All the judgment just like, oh my God,
mm,
what am I doing? And then I looked it up, and it was something that really existed. In the America, it's big now. It's not mainstream yet, but most people know about it, and lots of people use it.
mm,
Whereas it is really new here in the UK. And I was like, okay, I could do with the money. I could do with some cuddles.
mm.
But then I stayed in my job. I had a complete going down
Oh, yeah.
in my journey. And when I hit rock bottom, I resigned and I was like, okay, I need to change my life. I need to do something new. I was searching for jobs, nothing happened. And this idea of cuddle therapy kept coming back to me. When someone is whispering to your ears, that's how I woke up, cuddle therapy. That's how I went to bed, cuddle therapy. And then it started to come like during the day. I was like, what? Just leave cuddle therapy. I don't want to do this. And there came a point when there was no other way than to surrender.
Mm,
And I was like, okay, if I need to do this, show me the way because I have run out of ideas. And I was like, okay, I'm sure there was some logical thinking in it. I'm sure there must be like a certification program. So if there's one, show me the way. And it has to be cheap because I'm running out of money as well. And I found one, I signed up, it was really cheap. I was like, okay, so this is going too well. Maybe this is my journey. So I just did the course and I was like, okay, this is really funny now. I'm certified in something that I've never done before. So what do I do now? Like,
Mm.
just charge for this. And then I don't even know what I'm doing. It's similar when I was a teacher and I graduated as a teacher, like, I had no idea how to discipline children. I knew the theory and I knew the material I'm going to give to them,
Yeah.
but I had no idea how to. So I looked up a workshop which I've heard about and I went there and I'm just going to mention the name because I'm really grateful. So it was the Touch Project in London. And I went
Yeah.
there, funnily enough, the workshop I went to, it was the smallest ever. It was the lady, Kathy, whose organization it is, her
Mm.
helper, and one person who's been there for 15 years or 10 years in most of the London Cuddle workshops. And it was me. So it was like a really intimate small group. And I was like, I'm going in full. I did everything. We did connection exercises. We shared a lot. There was like really deep shares and tears.
Mm.
And then we did some cuddles as well. It was all platonic. There's a certain structure to it. And the only thing I was not honest about is I did not tell her that I'm a certified therapist.
Oh, wow.
Um, because I just felt that okay, I can't tell her that
Yeah, not
but
yet.
I was like honest with everything else. I was Mariana. I did my authentic self, but it's just that one thing that I did not share. And in the end, she came up to me like, "Do you want to come onto my team? You're a natural." And I was like, "Okay, this is a sign." So that's how it started,
Oh, cool.
and then I started my one-to-one business as well.
Yeah, helps to
It's an
have a team in the
interesting
beginning.
story.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Do you ever, I'm saying it helps to have a team in the beginning. I wonder, do you ever feel like you would have wanted or needed like cuddle therapy, like if it had existed when you were growing up, or even maybe doing your when you had that other work?
Yes. So the other reason why I'm loving this is
Mm.
because I give the support to people that I never had myself. I don't really recall hugging in my family. Actually, there was a process I had to implement to. I left Hungary 17 years ago, and it felt awkward every time I went home. I wanted to hug my parents. Like I haven't seen them for months. At the
Yeah,
beginning, I went home 3, 4 times a year, but then there was like the pandemic period. There was like 3 years I haven't been, and I was like, okay, I just want to give them a hug, but it's so awkward.
yeah.
And I went through a
Mm.
process that, like, I hugged my dad one day when I went home, and he just took a stick, like he had no idea what to do with it. And then, like, what happened? Like a child when they are frozen from something good. And that
Yeah.
made me think as well that people need this. It's so sad. So I would
Wow.
have needed a lot of times in my life because I had to do a lot of things alone.
Mm.
I didn't know it existed, and if I knew, if I had known, I probably
Yeah.
would have used it.
Wow. That's wild. Do you feel that reminds me of my partner whose parents that yeah, that she never hugs. Started to hug them more recently, but in Chinese culture is also very rare. Is it like a cultural thing in Hungary, you feel, or was that more your family? Where did it come from?
I'm not sure. Like we do have the two kisses on the cheek when
Mm.
we meet,
Mm.
but the hug and especially like the long proper hug. So in England, people just normally give this 3 second hug or just 1 second, 1, 2 seconds, just and then we're done. That doesn't do
Yeah.
much. I'd rather not have that as in my personal life. Just give me a hug or you don't do this. So I'm not sure if it's a cultural thing because now I'm changing that as well there. And if it was friends, and I think it's my family probably more. But
Mm.
there are other nations like China and India and lots of other places where but it they don't do hugging.
No, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so funny. Yeah, for me, it always been a thing. That's why I'm so fascinated by the therapy that you do. Well, because it seems like it is super important to even, yeah, for cultures and people who have been in specific relationships too, in abusive relationships. What kind of, aside from the need for expressing love and feeling that What do people usually say, like after you help them feel that? Usually, what's the transformation they go through?
So the first thing, they feel different. And there's a correlation between how you think and feel and what you do in life and what you have in life. So
Mm.
if you are on a high vibration and you feel good, then you're going to be more braver. You're going to have more courage to do things. You're going to go out. You're going to reach out. You're going to just have joy in yourself. And that's one of the beautiful things I see, like within an hour and a half or 2 hours, the transformation people go through. Like from the moment some people are shaking, some people are so anxious, some people are crying. And then the thing, what's happening is my vibration is high. So my nervous system is regulated. So there's a thing going on
Mm.
that's called attunement. They tune into my nervous system and I'm here and it's not me going down. I bring them up. They
Oh,
manage to calm themselves. So we sometimes do some self-regulating exercises, but it's normally a co-regulation. It's just they come up to me.
wow.
Sometimes we do breath work and stuff, but I'm going to start doing that more than I did before. But it's a regulation of the nervous system. So there's the chemicals that are released in the body, the oxytocin and serotonin, and that's they call it a love hormone, they call it a happy hormone, the
Mm.
trusting hormone. So we build trust to people who were sexually abused or physically abused. They build the trust in another human being. It normally takes time,
Yeah.
but and in themselves as well, and with the touch. So where they got their trauma from, that's how they heal it. And I lost track.
No, that's really powerful. And well, one question that comes to mind is, especially because we're both familiar and fans of Tony Robbins' state management. I was wondering what happens if you're not maybe feeling in like a beautiful state before you're about to have a session or something like that. Do you have specific practices that helps you to elevate your state, your vibration before?
Good question. And funnily enough, I'm so guided that whenever I'm going through my own growth, there's
Mm.
always this dip that, okay, something hits you hard and you need to process for a day or two, or however
Mm.
hard that thing is. I never have bookings on those days.
Wow.
I never. In the 2 years, I never have to cancel any of that because of my state. There were times when I was tired something, then I know how to put myself into state. So I normally meditate and I
Mm.
express my intention that, okay, I just want to love them, I just want to be present, and I just want to give them what they need. That's a beautiful thing to do because I don't know what they need, but
Yeah.
it's coming to me. And
Surrendering.
state, yeah, surrendering. And that's what I do. Someone told me this weekend that what I do is I just connect and connect to the source and connect to my clients. And somehow there's this word that I'm looking for. Like something's coming through me that's given to them by their
Mm.
soul or higher self, and they always get what they need. Sometimes I feel like, okay, this person is not getting anything. Like he has no reaction.
Really?
Like yeah, it's here. And then in the end, I remember this particular time, okay, this session has, yeah, it's just going really, it was not going badly, but I just didn't have that feedback that I normally have. And
Mm. Mm-hmm.
and in the end, he said, you know what? I let go of 10 things that I could not let go for years. And I was
Wow.
thinking, okay, this is not going well. I never know what's going on in their minds, like behind the scenes and behind the skin. It's just a safe place. They can go to the place where they can't when they are alone and scared. That's
Mm.
what's happening.
That's powerful. That's really powerful. If yeah, you help people like feel a calmness and their nervous system is calm enough so they can process things that they haven't had the opportunity to do. Super
And the
powerful.
presence, like
Mm.
being in the moment. Lots of people don't do
Mm.
that. And
Mm.
lots of people have this overthinking pattern, the scarcity, and they always are like, they can't, that inner dialogue never stops.
Mm.
And but when they drop into my energy, that happens too. Like I sometimes people tell me, okay, I'm going to talk for 2 hours. And I was like, I'm sure you won't. And then when they start feeling it, they just don't say anything. They just enjoy the moment and they can really connect to themselves, to their body, and do the feeling because with lots of people don't stop in life. You need to slow
Mm.
down in order to feel what's going on in your body
Mm.
and what's going on in your head as well. And sometimes it's like a
Ooh,
meditation.
yeah,
You need to be in the moment, in the presence, in the silence, in the stillness. It's mindfulness in a way.
yeah. That's what it sounds like. Didn't know it was so powerful to just help you be present. That's really interesting as well.
This is where you get clarity. You don't
Mm,
get clarity when you think about your past or what happened to you, which happened for
yeah.
you, of course, but or what's going to happen in the future. And if
Mm,
you were in the future, clarity only comes when you just close out the past and the future, and then you manage to hold yourself in the moment.
yeah. 100%.
It's important.
100%. That's incredible. I have one other question I was thinking about is so what do people need to know about cuddle therapy that's maybe not as known to the public? Like, what's the secret? No. What do people need to know, you think, if you're telling someone who has no idea?
Okay, so if someone has no idea, the first thing I would say, it's nothing to do with sex or prostitution. So I'm not a dating site. I'm not any of that.
Oh,
My main thing is to keep people safe and give them some love that comes through energy and platonic touch. So I do have a free consultation. I don't book in anyone without knowing their background. We need to
mm,
build a rapport. Like they need to know that they're going to be safe with me, and I need to know that they are coming for what I give. If someone's trying to push my boundaries and asking me if I'm taking my clothes off and things like that, I don't boot those people in. This is a platonic, we are fully dressed, a beautiful, I'm just holding a container of non-judgmental, unconditional love. So the things that need to happen can happen. Sometimes, so I always have a consultation.
hmm
I always make sure they are okay. The only thing I ask them is to be honest. If I trigger something, if I touch their face in a way that their, passed away mother touched it before she died, I want to know that because that's a huge trigger. And I
hmm
can only keep them safe if they tell me that, oh my God, this is the last thing that the last way my mom touched me before she passed away. These are huge, important things. And so I normally ask them what's the feeling they want to go home with. Some people say that I want to be secure, I want to be heard, I just want to relax and chill, I just want to let go of life that's going around me. I share them my boundaries and they
Yeah.
share theirs. So some people tell me don't mess up my hair. Then obviously that's respected and I don't touch their hair. Although stroking the hair and having a scalp massage is one of the best things. Everyone has their preferences.
Yeah.
And also at the beginning, we have a like a 5 minutes conversation that I just
Mm,
tell the whole thing again. So they are safe. And also every time I touch them, I ask them if that's okay
yeah.
because I'm there for them. I don't need cuddles. I'm just doing what they need or what they want. If people have a request that, okay, Marianna, hold me in this position for half an hour and in this position for half an hour, then I'll just do that. If
Yeah.
some people wants to do some primal play, which is a kind of non-verbal exercise, then we can just do that. If
Oh.
someone was just wants to have like intimate conversations, and intimate by intimate I don't mean sexual, like any kind of hard conversations, uncomfortable conversation they are
Mm,
unable to do with their parents, with their kids, with their partners, then we can practice that. We can do role play,
mm,
and then when they feel the confidence in themselves to do it with me, they will have a better chance to do the conversation and have the conversation with them. It's hard to have
wow.
uncomfortable conversations in life.
Mm,
And that's just one of my thing that I always want to be comfortable within the uncomfortable because I know I have
yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
And so through this, I help them feel confident as well in themselves and with others. I do have people like I had a few guys who were alone for a really long time and they wanted to go out dating, but they were shaking for an hour talking to me, sitting on the sofa. Can you imagine going them out? Like they need practice. They need a safe person
Wow.
who's not going to humiliate them, who's not going to reject them. But I'm just
Oh.
there
Mm,
holding the space so they can practice and let go of their fears or just burn through their fears. And
yeah.
then when they go out there, they're probably not going to be shaking anymore. They might be still rejected because it's only 30% of the chances that someone's going to like you. but then they're gonna have the certainty in themselves. Okay, it's not because of me, it's just because it's one third of people like me, one third of people don't like me or ever gonna like me. And then there are these surveys
Mm.
out there, and there's it's lots of things. So it's
Wow.
the one thing I say, it's nothing to do with the cuddles, really.
Mm.
It's so much more than the cuddles.
Yeah.
I'd like to call it it's human touch and beyond, but again, that
Wow.
beyond has to be explained
Mm.
because I don't know.
It's incredible. And it feels like you're already very skilled at this, even 2 years in. And yeah, just when we were met in person and seeing you, like your energy is very warm and safe, you could say. Like you're naturally already tuned to this energy. Was there
Thank
any
you.
exercise or moment that you learned how to do this, or is it been like this for a long time, you feel?
I think it's just me. Like warmth is the most what
Mm,
people tell me most, that they feel my warmth and they feel safe. And
mm,
then that I think it's the two top compliments I receive. That's what
mm,
most people tell me. And because they feel my warmth, which is kind of associated with motherly love, and also because they feel safe, they feel more accepted, they open up. And when people are open, that's when magic happens. Magic doesn't happen to a person whose
yeah.
heart is closed. And I try to tune into myself and feel. I'm a feeler, and I just feel what people need. Now, that's an interesting question. Nobody ever asked me that. I don't even know how to explain it. I feel it because
Oh,
some people need that motherly kind of energy. Sometimes
mm,
people need it when the mentor is talking to the student kind of energy. It's different. And
mm.
sometimes people just have a foot rub for an hour and a half, and
Oh,
then we
really?
just chat. Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
on one of my profiles because I studied reflexology like a long time ago. I'm not doing it, and
Oh.
I did not do it. I only did it on my families because my hands are not strong enough for that. And it was not my journey, as it turns out. But it's a really nice massage, and it's really nice to. Some people frown upon, don't touch my feet, but sometimes that's what we have. Like they lie on
Yeah.
on the bed or on the sofa. I just massage their legs, and then we just have a lovely conversation.
Wow.
So
Yeah, seems like you're very great at what you do, creating the safe space. Who knew that it's more the profession of creating safe spaces? That's awesome. That's really cool. One other, what other question did I have? I see that in your background, it feels very neat and like comfortable. Do you design your office or the room that the people come to? Like to be, how do you make it look safe, let's say, or warm?
okay. I have two places I have people. I do
Hmm.
have a therapy place. I rent in I think an 8 bedroom house, which is a therapy. It's not a clinic, but all the rooms are for therapies,
Hmm.
massage therapy, psychologists, and all sorts of talking therapies. So that place is given. There's only 2 rooms I can use, and they have a big sofa, and it is nice. But to do this, you really need a bed. And this
Oh
is
yeah.
where I struggle a little bit because ideally I would have a place that looks like a nice bedroom with
Hmm.
the warmth of the house, which
Hmm.
is not my space, but in a therapy place. Okay, I have not found it in London yet. So I think that's going to be something that I will have to create. Just rent a room for the whole month and then just design it the way I need it. And actually, I'm
Oh,
just going to write it up to my to-do list. I think that's it's time to do that.
awesome.
There's another one, like the people who were sexually abused and physically
Mm.
abused,
Mm.
they really need the home, the warmth of the home and the warmth of the mother. So they come to
Oh,
my home. So this background is part of my
yeah.
home. I always have fresh flowers. That's just my thing. And I always say that, okay, I don't want to go to your home, blah, blah, blah. But I will tell them that, okay, it's going to be beautiful. It's a nice energy because I live here. It's peaceful, it's clean, and it's quiet. It's everything you want to wish for, except it's in a home. And
Yeah.
when people enter, that's what they say. Like, you were
Mm.
right when you said that it was going to be really nice. And it's just
Interesting.
everything's energy. There are
Yeah.
buildings in London that I go in, I have to come out straight away because I can't stand the energy.
Really?
And my home has my energy,
Mm, of
his
course.
energy.
Of course.
So
How d
I designed it like being warm. Like I do have a
mm,
really lovely love sign. When it's dark, I have candles, so it smells nice as well. I have a skylight, so when it's raining, you can hear the rain.
amazing. You're really, yeah, it's everything around the energies. And what did you mean by having a mother's warmth?
When we are kids, all we long for is that our parents love us and
Mm,
love us the way we need to be loved, which they don't know how to, and
mm,
just give us their time and love, which comes as a baby. How you communicate with the world as a baby, as a newborn, it's touch. Because in the mother's womb, like by the water in the mummy's tummy, that was the touch. So you were in constant touch for 9 months before you were born, and all of a sudden that goes
oh,
away. And then
mm,
that's why it's so important. So there's this experiment, not really famous because it's quite brutal. They experimented with babies, and the babies who were not touched for a certain period of time, they died. It's
yeah.
it's crucial. It's basic human need, and that's what we need to receive from our parents. Because when we are born, they look after us. And
Yeah.
because most of the trauma or bad experience that kind of impacts our life as an adult is coming from our childhood.
Mm,
That motherly love, I call it motherly love because that's the, in an ideal world, the motherly life, like the
mm,
non-judgmental, unconditional, compassionate.
mm,
I'm there for you. I make you feel safe. I make you feel secure. I trust you. I see you. I listen to you. So all that is for me under the umbrella of a motherly love.
mm. I see, I see. Wow. That's super powerful. Makes me appreciate just how important it is to give people physical touch, actually, as well. Is there, I think we're about to start to wrap up, but is there anything that's hasn't been said about like the power of physical touch or why people need to know more about this?
Mm. This one thing I did not mention is the inner child work
Mm,
that comes through it. So, like people who are in self-development and work on themselves, they know that what inner child work means. And then this is loving the child in an adult body,
mm,
receiving what we never received, or receive what that
mm,
little girl and little boy needed at the time, receiving it now kind of reframes those negative experiences and they can change the story of that. And for me, this is, if people allow me, for me, this is a bit more like coaching as well. So,
mm,
and because I'm a coach, I encourage people to really go into that as well. Obviously, not everyone's interested,
mm,
but most people who come to me, they already did the talking, they did the therapy. But there comes a point when talking about the things is not enough. You can't just talk and relive the trauma like every time, every week you go to see your therapist. One, the trauma is stored in the body,
mm,
as lots of people out there, like Gabor Mate and all the people who are into this field, they share. So it has to be released from the body. But how is it released? It can be released through breath work. It can be released by swimming in cold water, by Wim Hof. Like there's lots of methodologies, and cuddle therapy is one of that. Like I had people in my hand, in my arms, who had like a seizure. They like someone had their arms like or hands like this, and I was like, okay, he's gonna break his own arm.
wow.
It's deep. And so people need to go into the body, and cuddle therapy for that is just one option, a really loving and kind option
Yeah.
compared to the cold water, because I can't plunge into cold water like that, but lots of people do that as well. It's shorter.
Uh-huh.
And also like to change your life and reframe your whole life and your traumas, and just you need to change your focus, you need to change your thinking, you need to change to your emotions. And for that, you need to resolve those energies that are
Mm,
stuck with you. And
yeah.
also, I'm happy to teach people how to change your physiology, and your feelings going to change. Like I'm
Yeah.
giving people tools and techniques that they can use
Mm,
themselves in life. Like journaling is always one of the first thing that I tell people. Like if they really want to become their own scientist, they
Yeah.
need to observe themselves. Like you need to take
Mm,
records of how you react to people, but because most reactions come from wounds.
yeah.
And then if you really want to become aware of how you live your life, you need to observe it. And there's a way to do that.
Wow.
So you trust I'm not just a cuddle therapist. I'm just so much more.
So much more.
And
That's
yeah.
gold. The tracking your reactions, I hadn't thought about that before. That's really interesting.
Mm,
Well, wow.
yeah.
So physical touch, motherly love to calm the nervous system, to bring out or uncover the trauma of the past, to understand where it's from and maybe reframe it or change the focus.
And one
And
more,
yes,
sorry to interrupt, like process the emotions.
process it.
Like
How does
there's
that
no
look like though?
suppression. Yeah, like in order to release something that's in your body, it has to come to the surface. You need to feel it. Without
Mm-hmm.
feeling it, it's not going to go anywhere. So that's
Mm,
why lots of people suppress it. They eat, they drink, they take drugs, they distract, they go on shopping sprees, and they
mm-hmm.
go on holidays, and they do everything else that gives them the dopamine to feel better, but they don't process it. And then it builds on because
Mm,
sometimes things happen 10 times. And then it has to happen 10 times by the time, okay, why is this always happening to me? And that's when we can address the root cause.
mm.
So,
Do you
and
feel like
then the emotions, pardon?
do you feel like it's easy to always find the root causes or help
No,
people co- talk about that?
it's never easy. And
Mm,
sometimes we all have our blind spots. Yeah. So the last person you're going to see is yourself. You can see what everybody else needs to be doing to in order to change, but the last person is because these things are blind. You can't see them, they are hidden, they are in your
yeah.
unconscious mind. And then for that, like I do have coach, I'm doing Tony Robbins, I'm in lots of communities, I talk with people. Like sometimes so I'm not a saint, like I'm on my journey. Like I've been to a 4-day event now with a coach, and oh my God, like I just realized so many things. But without doing the work that I've been doing there, I wouldn't have realized that, okay, what's my next step?
Yeah.
Because it's blind for me, hidden from
Hmm.
me.
Hmm. That's super powerful. Yeah, you don't know what you don't know. And yeah, if you want to keep growing, you need to keep getting different perspectives.
Yes.
Awesome. Super powerful, Mariana. If people want to learn more about what you do and connect with you, where can they reach out to you?
So they can find me on Instagram
Mm,
under my name, Marianna underscore Hollosi, which I'm sure you can share with them. And my
yes.
website is the same, mariannaholoshi.com.
Awesome.
And if they Google Cuddle Therapy London, I should come up as well. If they just remember,
Hmm.
oh, Marianna Cuddle Therapy London. I'm based here right now, but I might not be for long.
Oh yeah, you're moving?
I'm just getting these ideas that I might have to move or travel around the world and spread it even more than I do now. So I'm
Awesome.
creating my first workshop, a 2-day workshop as well. So it's changing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I think I feel I need to reach more people. So up until now, I was only doing one-to-ones, but I think I
Yeah.
need to spread this more.
Yeah. I know you're creating more content now too, which is really cool.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Steve?
Thank you so much.